In this lesson, we will finish rigging the left leg by adding a control we can use to stretch the character's knee. So that's all we're really missing now, a knee stretch control. Let's go ahead and create it. We'll move to our side view, and again we'll make it a circle. Let's go ahead and set its radius to 1. And let's move back to our perspective view and quick align this over to our shin. Alright, great. From there, we know that this is going to be a control object. Let's go ahead and have this stored in our controls layer. We'll also rename this to NML knee stretch. And we'll add our 01 at the end. Alright, great. We can always go in and recolor this, so that's going to be light purple. That will most certainly work. Alright, so once this object is in place, we now need to work on moving this out so that it's centered between our FK knee control and the shin here. So, making sure we're set to world mode, we could always move this to about a value of -2. Let's go ahead and start there. And that looks to be centered. Let's go ahead and bring back our character just to make sure we like the spacing here. And it almost looks like it's a little bit too close to the character's pen, so we might want to move this forward just slightly. We might try about a value of -2.2. It's a little bit too close. Let's try -2.5, and I think that that's going to work out very well. Okay. So, closing out of layers, let's go ahead and take a look at our object now. We need to make sure that its pivot is going to be right here at the shin, and we'll also want to link it to the same. But what's cool is that we'll go ahead and set up its rotation in a way where it will be averaged, so it doesn't follow the shin precisely. It kind of gives us a nice blend. And that will make it easier to go ahead and grab this object with it centered between our other bend controls. Alright, so let's go ahead and make sure that this is linked to our shin bone. If you need to, just go in and hide your character, if he's kind of getting in the way. We'll go in and link to our bone object. Great. Once that's done, we'll go ahead and correct the pivot so that we pivot from the shin bone's pivot. Let's go ahead and grab our hierarchy panel, click pivot only, and we'll quick align to our shin bone. Great. Alright, so from here, we're now going to create a group object, and that group object is going to give us that average rotation. So let's go ahead and make that now. With our control selected, we'll create a group. Let's go ahead and name this group L_knee stretch control GRP 01. Let's now go ahead and open that group, and let's make sure that this is going to be stored in our hidden layer. Alright, we can also make sure that its pivot is right at the shin. We're already under our hierarchy panel. Let's go ahead and quick align it there. Great. Let's exit Effect Pivot Only mode. Let's go ahead and highlight both objects, both the group and the animation control, and let's go ahead and freeze those objects now. So freeze their transforms. Alright, fantastic. So now we need to figure out what axis we'll need to use to average our rotation with. So if we were to go ahead and grab our shin, you could see that that's going to be its z-axis. And remember, we already have an exposed node we can work with. Let's go ahead and grab that exposed node. Let's right-click and choose Wire Parameters. It's going to be Object, Local Euler, Z, and we'll tie that to our group's z-axis. That's our Euler Z. Now what we'll need to do is a little bit of math here, so we want to kind of blend the rotation. So what we can do is simply multiply by -0.5. Since this object is linked directly to the shin, we just need to rotate in reverse. So we want to go ahead and cut that rotation in half and multiply by a negative value so it will move properly. Let's go ahead and connect this and test this out. So what should happen now when we go ahead and start to move the knee is that we should get this nice blend where it just points forward. Great. All right, really cool. So guess what? We are just about finished here. Let's go ahead and grab our animation control. What I'd like to do is just go back to the hierarchy panel, just go to link info. We are only going to move this object, so we'll lock down rotation and scale. Let's go ahead and take care of that now. And then we'll want to make sure that the connect curves are position constrained to this object. So we'll need to go back to layers and we'll need to show our flexi hidden layer for the shin. We can start there. Let's go ahead and grab the connect curve. Let's go ahead and take a look at our motion panel. Let's scroll down. Let's make sure we're under our position list. And we'll go ahead and add a target. And that target is going to be our bend control. Let's go ahead and zoom in and make sure that we select the right object. All right, so we've added it to the knee stretch. Let's right click and come out of target mode. And now we can go ahead and select our first target and go ahead and delete that weight. So that's one taken care of. We'll now go ahead and hide the flexi hidden layer for the shin and reveal the one for our thigh. And let's go ahead and connect this one to finish up. All right, so grabbing the connect curve, again, we'll add a target, and that's going to be the bend control here. All right, we've chosen the right object. Let's go ahead and right click to exit target mode. Let's select our first weight and go ahead and delete that. And now we're ready to test this out. So I'll go ahead and hide the flexi hidden layer. Let's go ahead and start to move our control around. So everything's working properly, really exciting. What happens when we go ahead and take our knee stretch control and start to pull that? Notice what we get. We are stretching this entire leg. Very exciting stuff. This is looking really cool. And this will work in FK mode as well. So if we were to go ahead and switch over to FK, you'll see that we do have a control to stretch the shin, but now we have an extra control to stretch from the knee. So we're giving the animator more control this way, and they'll appreciate that. All right, well, that's going to finish up our work here. And guess what? The left leg is finished. So again, I'm going to leave the right leg up to you. And in the next lesson, I'll have everything set up, and we'll go ahead and discuss that process.